Hi, this is going to be the Triumph analysis. Let's go. So we've got more classic RWBY-like music, no drums or trumpets. The music hypes you up, and all these lyrics definitely help to set the scene for Volume 5 tonally. Yeah, it's back to the fairy tale, back to the show. That's a nice little, like, we're back sort of thing. Because obviously RWBY is a show with some fairy tale inspirations. But in terms of canon, like, you got RWBY's books, sort of fairy tales things, and like, sort of like the show, you need to get the show on the road sort of thing. But yeah, it's a nice little sort of like leaning on the fourth wall. Not the whole song isn't very specific to one person sort of thing. I think this is very much a collective sort of team RWBY Junior, let's call it that, song. But yeah, it's just basically saying things like things looking bleak, things are looking very bleak after the fall, and they're about to get worse. It's made everyone quite pessimistic. You know, it's hard to I think it's hard to sort of be like, yeah, we're definitely going to save the day now, and there's not just Grim now, there's not just like Cinder. Torchwick looks like he doesn't look much like a villain anymore when we've got like people being killed and stuff. And then we've got the whole business with the gods, so people are having a bit of a rough time. Yeah. This is a bit more like specific now. Sending your Grim. Salem could be related to that. Salem seems to have a weird connection to Grim for whatever reason. We don't know her backstory yet. Could relate to just like the Grim, like at the fall, or like in Ren's village or whatever. Tear off my limb. Well, some characters have lost limbs. Yang has lost a limb. Striking bolts of lightning, that's more of a Nora thing. It's definitely a group thing. I don't think you can really just put this onto one person. But it gets a little bit more optimistic, because it's like, we're going up, we'll never be denied. So it's like, yeah, like we're screwed, but we're gonna do our best sort of thing. I think the song gets a bit more optimistic as you go along. And also, but all we need is a miracle. They did happen to get a miracle with like Raven happening to be the Spring Maiden, and obviously Raven's connection to Yang leading her to giving them the relic. Because obviously, if that hadn't happened, then like they would have been screwed. So they did happen to get a miracle. So that was like, I don't know if that counts as foreshadowing, but like they got a miracle, so that ties in well. I love this song. I love the guitar there. That's nice. yeah, just quick pause. It's basically like, you get the sort of idea, well, you can't like undo what's been done, you can't bring people, you can't bring everyone back who's died and undo all this destruction, but instead of like using that as an excuse to stop fighting, they're using it as motivation to carry on fighting, to stop it from happening to anyone else. So that's nice. I think that's the best way to look upon a bad situation, is to like think of how to learn from it, and to think of how you can turn it around and think morally what's the best thing to do. So I'm quite proud of our main characters. I also like, obviously it references the triumphs and stuff, but will be the ones to touch the sun. That just makes me think of Icarus. In case you don't know one specific Greek myth, Icarus, for a whole mess of reasons, his dad did some weird stuff, got into prison with him, and made him and his son Icarus wings to escape. But the wax holding the feathers together would melt if he flew too close to the sun. So, you know, when people like mention trying to get like close to the sun, it's generally a Icarus thing. But that's interesting, because like obviously if he flew too high, too close to the sun, the wings would melt. But if he flew too low, then like too low, he would crash. So you have to fly, and I don't know if that's what the kind of thing it's meant to be referencing, because they didn't, like, everyone remembers the fall, like how Icarus flew up and then he fell down, but not the actual process of him sort of flying. And maybe that's where they are. Maybe they're like just trying to not fly too high, not fly too low. I don't know if that's meant to be referencing anything, but yeah, I just thought that it'd be weird not to. There isn't like a specific 4-1 issue like connected to the villains, or how like maybe this was meant to be like, oh yeah, this academy is definitely gonna fall like Beacon did and it didn't, or what. But it's a nice reference, even if it's sort of like is suggesting that something's going to happen that didn't happen, or maybe they have another fall coming later. I sort of hope not. I want them to have a break, but I love the lyrics. There we go, it references This Is the Day. Oh. This Will Be the Day are like my favourite openings. I love this, it really hypes me up. And like, this is a good example of it. It's like, we need to do this, we're going to do this. Keeps mentioning die a lot. I remember hearing that it could be a reference to the song Die. Could be. I'm not against that theory. I see more of the word die itself. But yeah, I like it. The song gets more and more encouraging as you go along, and I think the season, when the first time you're watching the season, you don't feel that way. You're like, oh, something's going to happen. But then when you're rewatching it, other than a certain character getting injured at a certain episode near the end, everything sort of looked up. So, like, on the good guy's point of view, obviously not for like Emerald, but yeah. So I think the song does that as well, while still maintaining the sort of grim atmosphere. I didn't mean for that to be a pun, but I'll roll with that. It references the other best theme tune, and this is a place we came here to slay. That's going to be on so many edits and stuff, isn't it, for a few years. And yeah, I'm a girl but also a gun. I love it. I love how it's like, this song has a bit of a sense of humour. I like, RWBY's got a bit serious, and I like the serious tone, but RWBY is a little bit silly, you know, with like, RWBY has a scythe, which is also a rifle, and it's bigger than her at all times, and like, there's like evil Cinderella, and Goldilocks' hair glows and she can punch you through a wall. It's like, you need to have a sense of humour for this sort of premise, I think, and I like that the song is just like, it's having a joke with you. It's not like tearing itself down or anything, but it's just like having a little nod to some of its references, and I like that. Probably because it draws on nostalgia, but like, it's nice. It's a fun time. It's a fun song, mostly. Yeah, this is it's more of the sort of, it's more of the similar sort of stuff, like, it's building up to something, which was like the battle at the end, the almost fall, and it's more of the same sort of, it's more of the sort of, you can hurt me, but you can't take us all down, and we can do this sort of thing. I can't think of, like, any specific lines that are obviously strike down my friends. A couple friends have been struck down, Penny and Pyrrha, namely. Like, specifically referencing stuff. Like, it's got a similar sort of feel to it as this time, as in, like, we can't avoid this fight, you know. Fighting is like the only option, like, not fighting is letting Remnant be destroyed, sort of thing. And it's got more sort of rising above imagery that was featured in that song and some of Yang's songs. Yeah. And then said this song's mostly happy. Let's get to the let's get to the sad bit. Look. The song has a good message, I think. Yeah. Because obviously, as soon as anyone mentions Destiny, everyone's going to get a bit teary-eyed because of poor Pyrrha. But, and that's definitely what it's nodding to. But I like how it places an importance on making your own decisions and choosing to, instead of letting pain sort of hold you back or make you think it's okay to hurt others so they're also in pain, it's trying to use that as a reason to do the right thing instead. I think that's consistent with the messages of RWBY at the moment, because obviously in Volume 5 we had the whole Ilya's sort of redeeming herself sort of thing. Like, she made that choice to be good. She didn't have to, but she did. She made the right decision. We also have, like, well, we have Raven choosing to be Raven and, like, just not be so considerate of people's feelings. She chose to give Yang the relic, and that's obviously quite a meaningful choice. And Yang's choosing to fight for RWBY, and obviously RWBY and Juniper choosing to fight for more we're the good guys type reasons. And Blake choosing to confront her abuser, and Weiss choosing to escape from hers. And there's a lot of choices. You can even say that, like, maybe Cinder got a choice to try and stop, and Hazel got a choice to try and stop when people tried to be like, why are you doing this sort of thing, and they didn't. Because I think that's what's important. Like, you have to follow through. You've got to, your actions have to, you can't just say that you're good, you have to, or whatever, you have to sort of act like it too. And that's mainly what redemption is. So Ilya's sort of at the start of hers. I've immediately forgiven her, but there we go. That's not a narrative thing, that's me being very biased towards Ilya thing. It could be interesting to see how this plays out about choices. This, like, with Raven being more important, we could get some Stark stuff. Why she chose to leave the team and Yang. Why Crow chose to follow Ozpin. Why Ty took a back seat. Why Ozpin is doing some shady stuff. Why Salem is doing very shady stuff. It could be really interesting to have a volume which is sort of more, I don't want to say like character focused, because it's always focused on characters, but you know what I mean. At least when they're most, like, all the good guys are like in one place and can interact and try and heal or repair relationships or whatever. I'm also a bit of an advocate for an Emerald Redemption arc, so if that happened, that would work with the choice things. But obviously this isn't, I don't think this is explicitly like a one character song. It doesn't really mention any names, so anyone's choices can be and are important, and I think that's consistent with the show. So yeah, I like that. Instead of Destiny being like sort of what's owed to you sort of thing, like maybe Cinder would say, it's doing what you think you should do and what is right, like the good guys. But I'll stop rambling. I enjoy this song very much. I think it's a really great song. It has doesn't have as much character insight, but I think it's perfect for capturing Volume 5, and I'm very happy with it. It's always good to try and put a positive spin on things, even when things look grim. I kind of meant it that time, I apologise. But yeah, I hope you liked this, and have a good day.